when your dad died, your mother came to get him. She goes, I saw my husband go through so much suffering, and I saw your mom appear to your father and say, are you ready?
Oh,
and she brought him to the other side. So right away, I keep hearing I'm the father. Was that your dad that departed?
yes.
Please
Yes.
know that he's here.
Okay.
Because right away, he keeps telling me, Matt, tell him I can walk, I can move, he's telling me. Because when I'm connecting with him right away, he showed me all these issues within his legs. And
Yes.
he talks about not being able to walk and not being able to move here in the physical. Do you understand that?
Yes. Yes.
Right
yes.
away, when I was coming through, this man he keeps saying to me, I'm such a changed person, because he shows me that, first of all, he can move on the other side. He's dressed up when I'm connecting with him, letting you know that he's finally looking his best. And what's so funny is he goes to me, Matt, look at this. I can't believe what I turned into, because I turned into an old man, he's telling me. And your father says to me that he's sorry for being so grouchy before he died. Yes. He tells me like that he turned into like a little kid. Like your dad was like so smart and like so like laid back. And then when he died,
Yes.
it's like he didn't want any responsibility here in this world. Do you understand that?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
How did you connect with him not wanting to shower? Or there was an issue with him showering?
Yeah, the last few weeks I went to visit him he lived in New Jersey, and he had colon cancer a couple of years before that. And when I went there, he had a problem with his colon and he wouldn't tell me. And I'd say, get in the shower and, get dressed and everything. And he was just like, no, I'm good. No, I'm good. I showered, but I knew that he wasn't showering. He wasn't himself.
He tells me, because when your dad, this is what's so amazing about being a medium, right? Is that I see your loved ones, how they are now versus how they are when they died. And your dad was clean as a whistle here in this world. He would go and he would shower twice a day. He tells me that he was very particular about his clothes. They had to be ironed. They had to be perfect. And also when I'm connecting with your father, he was like obsessed with underwear, having like clean underwear and like new packages of underwear. I keep saying like, I know what he used to wear. You know, the friggin', the Hanes, yes. Tighty whitey white friggin' underwear. That's right. Your father shows me that he was always buying new underwear. Like you always used to tell your mom, like, make sure I got enough underwear. Do I got enough underwear in there? And I think he tells me when he died, like, I feel like you found like drawers of underwear with your father.
Yes, I did. I did.
White t-shirts too.
Yeah, and the white t-shirts too.
He said to me, Matt, he goes, this was me. I had to be clean all the time. And your dad showed me like that he would spray the cologne on him here in the physical world. He put I think he used to wear polo because it smells like polo to me.
Yes, he did. He did.
Perfect. He's showing me the polo cologne. He goes, this was me, Matt. He goes, I wouldn't leave the house until I was showered, until I was dressed. He says, and this is how I was. And then when he died, it's like he was a completely different person. He tells me that he had been struggling with his health for quite some time.
Yes.
It started in his legs and went to other parts of his body. But what's also interesting is your dad also tells me he started having teeth issues as well. And he lost his teeth.
When he was in the hospital for the colon cancer and he was operated on and everything, he got very aggressive. And one day he woke up because they had to give him a Haldol or something to calm his nerves. And I went to visit him in the hospital, and all his teeth on the bottom, they were all rotted and crooked. And I said, what happened? He goes, I don't know what happened to my teeth. And I found out later that it was because he was gnawing at his mouth and his teeth because of the pain. And he absolutely I think he just totally lost it. And that's what his teeth were all rotted on. They were all like practically ripped out of his mouth.
He tells me he's got his teeth back.
Oh.
And he needs to know that, because you got to know that you had to see your dad in the worst way. He tells me that when he was dying, like you looked at him and you were like, oh my God, this doesn't even look like my father. This doesn't even look like it's him.
No.
He says to me, Matt, on the other side, please let my daughter know that I am back to being myself. He says, and I am sorry for everything that she had to see. That's what he tells me. When I'm connecting with your dad, he says to me, this was far beyond what you could have imagined. That even though he was having issues here and here, right? I'm also going to tell you this. I think that your dad had a stroke before his passing. Because he just showed me an issue with his brain, and he just showed me an MRI. So anytime the spirit shows me an MRI, it means that there was a stroke or a loss of oxygen right here.
Well, 2 months before he passed, he fell. When I left to come back home, my brother took him into the hospital. And the next day, the neurosurgeon called me up and said, we might have to operate on your dad. And I said, why? He says, there's some kind of a bleed that went on. Did your dad fall? And I said, yeah, he fell like 2 months ago. So that's when he said to me, he had a bleed in the back of his head, and he operated on him. He was 85 years old at the time.
So please know that your dad tells me that that's when everything changed for him.
Oh, he did, because he passed away a couple of weeks later.
Your dad tells me this. He says to me, Matt, he says, this was like a ticking time bomb. I was already on my way out.
Oh.
He says, and what he needs to let you know is that as his daughter, he wants to thank you for stepping up to the front of the plate and for taking care of him.
Oh.
Now, your mom passed before him?
Yeah.
Because he just told me that his wife was there to greet him. And he said to me that what was so amazing is that you told him, Dad, go find mom, go find mom. He said to me, Matt, I found her.
Oh.
He says, and you know that his wife was his soulmate here in this world.
Yes.
When I'm connecting, he said to me, Matt, he goes, you don't understand. He says, the day that my wife died, he goes, a piece of my heart died. He tells me that he could never be with anybody else. He's bringing that through.
No, they were married almost 56 years the week that she passed away. She had a massive stroke.
Do you know that he tells me that he looked at her picture every night? He says, Matt, every night I would look at her picture. I would sleep next to her picture, he tells me. He says, I would wake up with her and I'd go to sleep with her. He goes, that's the only way that I could live here in this world. And I'm gonna tell you one thing. When your dad died, your mother came to get him. I just saw her appear. And she said to me, I watched enough. She goes, I saw my husband go through so much suffering. And I said, enough is enough. She came and brought his soul because I saw him. You know, it's very rare that I see the final moments of a loved one's passing. And I saw your mom appear to your father, to her husband, and say, are you ready? And she brought him to the other side.
That's wonderful.
That's just great.
So what was tough was this. You saw your dad before he died be in a coma. It was like he was in a coma. He talks about not being able to speak or communicate before he died.
Yeah, he had an issue because after he had all this thing going with his brain and everything, then they were going to put him into a nursing home, and he got sick in the ambulance and he got sepsis, and then he couldn't speak or anything after that. And by the time they got him back into the hospital, his organs shut down and he passed away. But I was living in another state at the time, so I didn't see him then.
Please know that your dad's telling you this for one reason. When he was in that state of, you know, not being with it, not being able to talk or communicate, please know not to feel like you didn't get to be there for your dad.
No,
Because
we just talking about that. We were just talking about that.
you didn't have to be there for your father because your mother was. Even though you were in another state and you're like, oh my God, my dad died alone. What a terrible death. He died in the back of an ambulance. Oh my God, he didn't get to do this, this, and this. And I couldn't even talk to him and I couldn't even reach out to him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Your dad was not alone. Your mother was there.
Thank you for telling me this.
And he tells me that he saw your mom and your mom brought him to the other side. And your mother also tells me this. She says, Matt, thank God I had wonderful kids. She tells me about the way that you watched over your father from the moment she left this world. And you made your mom a promise. You promised your mom before she died that if anything would have happened to her, you would take care of your father.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, because I was going to, I said to her, I said, if anything ever happened, you know, somebody's going to come and live with me. You're not going to ever be alone.
So know that your mom knows that. And know that that's her way of just bringing that through. She also told me Anna as well.
That's me, Ann or Anna.
Okay, and were you named after somebody as well? Was your name Pascal?
My godmother.
Perfect. Please know that she's also there as well, because I kept hearing same name. So know that it's her way of acknowledging she's also another mother there watching over you.
Oh my God, that's wonderful.
Your mom, your godmother, your father, and more importantly, all their friends and family.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you guys so much for signing up